Florence was a city where beauty was currency and access was everything. Merchants traded silk, bankers traded gold, politicians traded loyalty. But one man traded perception. His name was Niccolò Machiavelli. He observed something most men were too emotional to admit. What is easily available is easily ignored. What is expensive is respected. One evening, a young court advisor approached him. "Master," he said, "how do I gain influence? I work tirelessly. I make myself available. I offer help freely, yet no one values me." Machiavelli looked at him with calm indifference. "That," he said, "is precisely your problem." And thus began a lesson that would echo beyond politics, into business, relationships, branding, and life itself. Do not be free, be expensive. Part 1. The psychology of free. The word free sounds attractive. Free access, free help, free time, free advice. But psychologically, free carries hidden consequences. In Florence, those who offered constant availability were used, not respected. The human mind and perceived value. Humans assign value based on scarcity, effort required, social proof, price. If something costs nothing, the brain assumes it is worth nothing. This is not cruelty, it is evolutionary wiring. Ancient humans survived by prioritizing scarce resources. Rare meant important, abundant meant replaceable. When you make yourself constantly available, emotionally, professionally, intellectually, you signal replaceability, and replaceability destroys authority. Part 2. The advisor who worked too hard. The young advisor believed productivity created power. He answered messages instantly. He offered strategy without being asked. He stayed late. He worked weekends. He gave more than required. Yet promotions went elsewhere. Why? Because he was always there, always accessible, always eager, and eagerness signals dependence. Machiavelli understood this deeply. In The Prince, he observed rulers who overextended generosity, lost fear, and therefore lost control. When access is unlimited, respect declines. Part 3. Scarcity creates power. The advisor began changing behavior. He stopped replying instantly. He stopped volunteering solutions without invitation. He limited availability. Something shifted. Now, when he spoke, people listened. When he entered rooms, conversations adjusted. Because scarcity creates psychological weight. Why scarcity works? Scarcity triggers fear of missing opportunity, competitive instincts, elevated attention. When something is limited, the brain amplifies its importance. Luxury brands understand this perfectly. They do not chase customers, they restrict supply. And restriction creates prestige. Part 4. The economics of perception. Being expensive is not about arrogance, it is about signaling. Price communicates positioning. Low price says, "I need your approval." High price says, "I know my value." The advisor began setting boundaries. He refused low-level tasks. He positioned himself for strategic conversations only. And slowly, his reputation shifted, not because he changed intelligence, but because he changed access. Part 5. The hidden cost of over-availability. Over-availability creates 3 psychological problems: diminished urgency, reduced authority, lower perceived expertise. If someone can reach you anytime, your presence loses weight. Machiavelli observed this in court politics. Those constantly near power were rarely powerful. The rare appearances commanded influence. Presence must feel earned. Part 6. Emotional pricing. Being expensive applies beyond money. It applies to attention, time, energy, approval. If you give approval freely, it loses value. If you give time freely, it becomes expected. If you give attention freely, it becomes background noise. Humans protect what they invest in. If someone invests effort to access you, they value you more. Part 7. The fear of being expensive. The advisor hesitated.
What if they reject me? Machiavelli smiled. Rejection of value filters the unworthy. Being expensive naturally reduces quantity, but increases quality. The advisor lost casual acquaintances. He gained strategic allies. He lost minor requests. He gained major influence, because exclusivity filters noise. Part 8. The authority of detachment. Detachment is magnetic. When you do not seek validation, people seek you. Machiavelli understood emotional independence. Desire is attractive, desperation is repellent. The advisor practiced calm detachment. He stopped chasing approval. He let silence work, and silence builds mystique. Part 9. Premium positioning. Premium positioning follows 3 principles: limit access, increase selectivity, communicate confidence. Luxury brands do not beg customers, they curate them. Similarly, powerful individuals do not chase relationships, they choose them. The advisor shifted from "how can I help" to "let's determine if this aligns." Language changes perception. Part 10. Time as currency. Time is the ultimate asset. When you protect your time fiercely, others recognize its value. Machiavelli observed rulers who wasted time in trivial matters lost strategic advantage. The advisor began declining meetings without agenda. He required preparation. He charged for consultations. People adjusted, because the market always adjusts to boundaries. Part 11. The illusion of popularity. Popularity and power are not identical. Those constantly visible often lack leverage. Machiavelli favored calculated visibility. Appear when necessary, withdraw when advantageous. Absence amplifies presence. If you are everywhere, you are nowhere. Part 12. The psychological shift. Months passed. The advisor's demeanor changed. His posture slowed. His speech became measured. He no longer filled silence. He allowed others to seek his attention. And something fascinating occurred. He was invited to higher-level discussions, not because he asked, but because his scarcity implied importance. Part 13. The law of perceived investment. People respect what they invest in. When clients pay more, they commit more. When access costs effort, engagement increases. Free advice is ignored, paid advice is implemented, because financial investment triggers psychological commitment. Part 14. Relationships and value. Being expensive applies socially. If you are always available emotionally, you lose mystery. If you respond instantly to every message, you reduce anticipation. Anticipation builds desire, and desire fuels attachment. Distance must exist for attraction to grow. Part 15. The courage to walk away. The advisor learned the most powerful move, walking away. When undervalued, he disengaged. He did not argue. He did not plead. He withdrew. Withdrawal forces re-evaluation. Humans reassess value when availability disappears. Part 16. Modern application. In business, raise your rates strategically, filter clients, protect time, build exclusivity. In branding, limit supply, elevate messaging, communicate standards. In personal development, protect energy, choose associations carefully, avoid overexposure. Being expensive means you decide access. Part 17. The danger of arrogance. There is a line. Being expensive is not ego, it is disciplined positioning. Arrogance repels, calm selectivity attracts. Machiavelli did not advocate cruelty, he advocated control. Control begins with boundaries. Part 18. The long game. Years later, the advisor held influence in Florence, not because he shouted, not because he begged, but because he understood scarcity psychology. He was no longer free, he was valuable, and value commands respect. 19. The core principle. The lesson is simple but uncomfortable. If everyone can access you, you are common. If few can access you, you are elite. Elite positioning creates psychological authority, social proof, higher perceived expertise, stronger negotiation leverage. The market respects what is rare. Part 20. Final words from Florence. The advisor asked one final question. "Master, is this not manipulative?" Machiavelli replied, "It is not manipulation to understand human nature. It is foolishness to ignore it. Being expensive is not greed. It is refusing to be replaceable." Closing reflection. Most people chase acceptance. Few cultivate exclusivity. Most offer free value endlessly. Few protect it strategically. If you want respect, limit access, raise standards, protect time.